All right, guys, I just wanted to sit down with you and take a moment to be real with you. Not all tanks go as planned, not all fish stay healthy forever, and problems do arise. Some influencers and pet people decide not to show that, and some people like to take the truthful route. And I think in my evolution and journey of going through this with you, I want to take the time to show you some of my mistakes and failures, and hopefully you're going to be able to learn from it and not follow in my footsteps and not have any problems arise. What we're talking about today is my Betta tank. This tank looks extremely healthy, but recently I've been noticing my Betta has just been very lethargic, gasping for air, and just his colors are kind of pale. I just got back from my vacation as well, and unfortunately it looks like whatever was going on has gotten worse, and it looks like he's developed Dropsy or Dropsy. I noticed that by seeing his scales, they were actually so puffed up from the fluids building up inside him that it said it's called the pine cone look, and his scales actually puffed up out of his body so much he looked like a little pine cone just because he was building up a lot of fluids inside of him. And honestly, I had no idea what caused it. So what everyone does is I got on Google and started researching, and I learned all about gram-positive, gram-negative diseases, and actually how Dropsy, being a gram-negative, is a lot more challenging to get rid of. And through all of the researching, I kind of learned that the best course of action is obviously get your Betta out of the tank and put him in a hospital tank. We did do that. I'll go over how we set up the hospital tank. But unfortunately, the tank that has been affected is going to have to come down completely. I'm sure there's ways we could do it otherwise, but doing fun aquascapes, having an empty tank would allow me to do another scape for you guys, which would be a lot of fun. And I know I can permanently get rid of any bacteria causing that dropsy. So let's get into tearing this tank down and turning it into a plant storage tank for the time being, and let's rescue our Betta. So unfortunately, Cam, as you can see, has been moved out of his planted paradise and into this hospital tank. I really want to save Cam and do everything I can to ensure he lives longer and this dropsy doesn't get to him. All I did for this hospital tank is, as soon as I noticed that he had dropsy and he was pine coning, I set up this hospital tank with a sponge filter, 2 little Java ferns, a heater, and some Indian almond leaves along with some of those alder cones to release the tannins. Tannins are extremely beneficial for bettas. They go in and they help them just be healthy. It maintains pH, and overall the tannin look will reduce the stress for the Betta there. And everything else I'm doing, feeding him as normal. I'm also adding some aquarium salt just to help him be able to breathe more and get more dissolved oxygen in this hospital tank. And like I mentioned earlier, this dropsy being a gram-negative disease, is I had to order the proper medication. So I went ahead on Fritz and I ordered some Maricin 2, and once that gets into the mail, I'm going to start dosing Cam immediately. But it's already been like 2 days since he's been in the hospital tank. His swelling's reduced, his scales are laying back down, and I think just having a pure, clean hospital tank with some plants and the tannins is really already helping and doing the trick. So things are looking up. Hopefully Cam will do good in the hospital tank for the next 3 weeks, and then once the new scape is done for him, we'll move him into a brand new planted paradise. All right, so the plan of attack for this teardown is pretty simple. We're just going to start tearing the plants out first, and then we're going to take all of our equipment out, and then I'm going to actually get this huge piece of wood out. I'm going to throw it into a bucket and just let it sit there for a while. The sphagnum moss in there will retain moisture for the day being, and once I'm all done, I can get those immersed plants out and spread them out through my tanks. But priority number 1 is saving all of these plants because they're actually quite healthy and they will do good in any one of my scapes. So let's start getting those plants done, the equipment, the rocks, the sand, and get this back to a completely clean, empty tank. So we're halfway through the teardown. I would say 70% through the teardown. I think I've found maybe one of the issues, I don't know for sure, but this is my immersed plant like log thing, and I've noticed that there is a lot of this white fungus buildup. So I don't know if that would play a factor into the water running down this and mixing into the water column. That probably didn't help the bacterial infection there. But the other thing I'm thinking of is as I'm pulling this apart, I remember I used a bag from another fish keeper of, you know, some pre-cycled lava rock to help cycle this tank. So I don't know if maybe it was the fungus getting into the water or if something in the bottom of our substrate just got a little funky and out of control, but we're gonna keep tearing it down. And through this process, just know, don't beat yourself up. If something wrong goes with your fish or with your tank, you kill a couple plants, it's normal. Don't beat yourself up, learn from it. Learn how you can become a better fish keeper and ensure that this problem doesn't happen again in the future. And so right now, as we're tearing it down, it is a little sad to see this scape go, but it's a learning experience. We're gonna benefit from it and hopefully become a better fish keeper from it. Well, as we were cleaning out the tank, I discovered that I put 2 Amano shrimps in here, and immediately I was like, hey, do shrimp get dropsy too, and can, you know, they convert or transfer any diseases? And a quick search on Google shows me that shrimp and fish do not translate their diseases. So fortunately, our Amano shrimp here will not have the Dropsy bacterial infection. So I'm just gonna go ahead and net these Amanos out. Oh, looks like there's 3 of them. Net these 3 Amanos out, pop them over to Anubis Mountain, and we'll be good to start getting the substrate and the sand all out of here. Time for scooping. Well, all the substrate's out, all the plants are out. We got the glass as clean as I can get it, and after 2 years, let me tell you what, a lot builds up on this glass, but I think it's looking very clean. Now it's time to go prep our tissue culture plants. I have, I think like 6 or 8 super cool tissue culture plants that we're gonna be using for the upcoming UNS scape. So I thought this is the perfect time. Get those plants into some water, into some good aqua soil to start growing before it goes into our new build. And of course, we can take out all the plants we got from this build and just make this a little just planted tank, just a plant storage tank. And then eventually, once Cam's feeling better and we get all the plants out, we can make him a new scape. But for now, let's go get all those plants out. All right, well, we tore it all down. Now it's time to start putting it back together. We're gonna be just doing a very simple substrate system. I'm gonna try some of these API root tabs. They're really good with iron. Put some of those on the bottom of the tank. And as always, we're using our UNS Contra soil. I love this stuff, it grows plants awesome. So let's get to pouring and get these plants back in here. Do. And my favorite time, plants. Time to get planted, guys. Let's do it. Oh man, what a productive day that was. We were able to get Cam's tank completely torn down. We were able to clean up some of the equipment, make sure Cam is happy and healthy in his hospital tank. I'm looking over at him right now and he is actually doing pretty good. He's begging for food, which shows me signs of improvement. And look at this tank. This is my first plant only tank. As a happy side note, it's gonna be an awesome little plant storage tank to get these plants underwater growing before they go into the UNS tank. We got the CO2 diffuser in here. I'm gonna let that ceramic dish sit for a little bit before we power it on. But man, an all plant tank just looks awesome. It's super colorful and happy. So I just wanna say thank you so much for joining me on this video. It was awesome. It looks like this light is back on its schedule, so that means I gotta get back on my schedule and get some of these buckets cleaned up and just get all the towels out of the way. But I hope you have a wonderful day, and if you'd like to see this grow and grow on Instagram, check it out.